We were going into high elevations, hoping to get a real high and win a big game against Wyoming, but we got the lowest of lows because we lost a tough one. This is the FAU Football Fancast. I'm George on Twitter. I'm at King of Podcasts. Today, September 24th, 2014, and I'm accompanied by my brother Andy, who's on Twitter at FAUWiseGuys. Brother, well, first of all, I don't feel so bad because unfortunately I couldn't get trying to scramble around for the feed to watch the game on Saturday was a little tough. I know you got a chance to watch it yourself, but I had to do a lot of running around. But I caught the game with Levick and Chris Bartels on the radio, and God, there was some good, exciting things going on. I mean, looked like momentum was picking up from week before from the Tulsa game, and I know we were struggled at the start, came back from behind, and made it close, but not enough for us to go ahead and turn it around.
Definitely a game that we had, that it was in our hands, and we let it slip away. But listen, they gave a good effort. It's just these are games that you just got to learn to win. Fortunately, it wasn't a conference game, so there's still plenty to play for. Hopefully they can focus and hone in on still getting to a bowl game, still getting the conference championship. Those are still things that are well within our sight.
I mean, if you had to go and look for positives, the one thing you could say is that we still have a clean conference slate. But that conference slate is going to be tested because we start off with University of Texas San Antonio, the Roadrunners, which everybody knows about. UTSA is a pretty young program being run by Larry Coker, who, for those of you who've been around, in the Florida football scene, no stranger to us fans, being the University of Miami coach for the last run of championship runs that the team had, and they haven't seen that since they went to the ACC. They've been pretty dry on that well. But
they ran into the Nebraska buzzsaw this weekend. So all those guys smirking at us, a couple weeks ago. Well, look at what happened to them, so.
And that still comes down to the fact you can't really compare, okay, McNeese State did this against them, we did this against Nebraska, Miami, it just isn't all the way around. So anyway.
Nebraska's a quality team. I mean, they're a ranked team for a reason. They got a good squad over there, so,
Well, FAU comes back 5 o'clock for another game here at the stadium against UTSA, and we have a special guest on the line with us that's joining us, and we're thankful to have our very first guest here on the FAU Football Fancast this year. We're welcomed by a member of the coaching staff. We have assistant coach and defensive line coach Terrence Jamison. Terrence, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me.
We're really pleased to have you on. Thanks for coming on and making some time. And Andy did some good work. I didn't expect you to go ahead and pull this off, but for Fancast, to know that you guys are accessible and you can come on with us is a good thing. Andy, I want to let you take the floor first.
Sure. Coach, tough loss up there in Wyoming. How tough is it to get these guys, focused on the bigger things coming up? And what's the mood like there? Is it a kind of a down mood and going to ramp up for the game, or are these guys hungry to get back on the field?
Yeah, guys are hungry to get back on the field. It's always tough after a loss. But the good thing is you have an opportunity to improve for the next week. So you take the game win or lose as an opportunity to get better for the next week. There's always things you take away from a game, whether you win or you lose, that you can work on to improve moving forward.
Tell me what you think about how the team's been playing so far. I mean, just the guys you're coaching up yourself. I mean, they've been through a lot of tests. They've gone through some really good players on offense they've had to go up against, and they've been through some various severe tests to the mettle and to how well they can perform on the field. And how do you think have they taken the situation so far? And now we're going to conference play. Maybe you think that the competition will be a little more of a level playing field.
I think, like I said before, we take every game as an opportunity to first of all win and also learn from things that we can take advantage of moving forward, whether it's corrections we can make or whether it's things that we can continue to do that we like. we're looking forward to conference play. Those games that we played, first 4 games we played, those were great games for us to play. Different styles of offense, all four games, and so it exposed our defense to a lot of different things that we can use moving forward and to prepare our players for the road ahead. We're looking forward to conference play. UTSA is going to be a great challenge, and it's a great opportunity for us to, play in front of our fans one more time and have fun.
So, Coach, this is a question a little off the beaten path a little bit. Watching the game up in Wyoming, they had a pretty good crowd up there. Their attendance looked pretty good, and I always thought that's something that we should aim for, is a crowd like that. A solid crowd at every game. Is that something that FAU can address in right now, or is that something that's more of a growth thing that we're a young program and we just have to build our fan base that way?
I thought our game versus Tulsa, I thought the fans showed up and gave great support. I thought it was a great crowd out there. They looked like they were into it. As far as I can see, we were pretty locked in the game. But coming out there and hearing the crowd cheer, I felt like they were all in, and we had a good showing out there. It obviously is going to grow as we grow as a program, but I felt great about what the community of Boca Raton and the surrounding areas and how they showed up to support our football program.
Well, I think Coach is going about it the right way, aiming at the students. Me and my brother, we come from an era that there was no FAU football when we went to school there.
Oh.
So when we left school, they had to bring us back. But I think with students, you have the opportunity to get them now and keep them there and keep them coming back year after year. I think he's going about it the right way.
Yeah, certainly, I agree. The student body president, he's been all in. He's been very, very involved, and just working with our head coach and trying to figure out ways to get students more involved. And you can see that first game, that student section was packed. They were all in. It was fun to see.
Now, one thing we noticed is that there's been a lot of things going on with players and just on other teams, and making sure to keep your players disciplined, keep them focused on schoolwork, focus on practice, focus on getting to the games prepared mentally and physically. When you see the things that you see going on in the news, say like a Jameis Winston or something like that, does that still stay in the back of your mind just to make sure that you do a little extra just to make sure the players are staying on the right path?
Just you have ground rules for your team. You have philosophies. You have things that you believe in terms of discipline. And from the beginning, you try to instill those things so that you don't have any issues moving forward. So we try to handle things in house and make sure guys are on the right path. And we've got a good group of guys. It's tough to avoid some of those things, but you try to manage as best as you can as a coach. But for us, we got a good group of players that people make mistakes, but we have guys that are accountable and hold themselves and hold each other accountable, and then we can move forward when issues do arise.
I'm still surprised we got a FAU coaching staff member on the program. I'm still overwhelmed and overjoyed by it, and I appreciate you taking a few minutes, Coach Jameson, to jump on the show. And Andy, if you have anything last year, feel free to go ahead and jump in one more question if you want before we go ahead and move forward.
I was going to ask one thing. I know that this staff it's a young staff. People would look at it and say there's not a lot of experience. What do you think is the strength? I mean, to me personally, I think the staff has got a lot of recruiting. I wouldn't say experience, but they have a lot of recruiting aces on this staff, and I think that's a big thing that we need at FAU. Looking from the inside, what do you think is the biggest strength you guys have as a staff?
I just think how we relate to people. We're very personable. We're just genuine men. We're men that most of the men on this staff are married. One coach is not married. We love our wives. We respect others. We have children of our own. We raise our children with good fathers. So we just try to do things the right way and make good decisions and treat others with respect. So it's just some of the things that we believe in.
That's good. How do you like it here in South Florida? Are you a South Florida guy or no? You're mostly from up north, correct?
Yeah, I'm from Illinois. Yes, but I do love South Florida. It's a beautiful place. It feels like vacation.
Yeah, except for in 2 days, man. It's hot during 2 days though.
Yeah, I soak it all in. I enjoy it. I was over 20 years in the cold and in the snow, so I try to soak it all in. It's a great place to live.
Hey, you know what you do to the people up north? I always send them a picture of the beach with it saying December 25th at the bottom for Christmas, man. They love that, boy.
Good gift. Yeah.
No, but it's amazing you get a chance to go and be here in the hotbed of South Florida just for football. I mean, in terms of college, high school, there's just football's just. I mean, I know Illinois has got its players and it's got its games, but it must be amazing just to be right here in the center of it all.
Yeah, it's a great place to be, Florida. Most of the recruits come from the state of Florida.
Yep.
It's just a great place to be in terms of recruiting, in terms of football support from high school all the way up to college. So you can't actually be in a better place in the state of Florida. So.
Well, have you been to one of the big high school games down here since you've been here, like the Soul Bowl or the Muck Bowl? Any one of those you've been out to?
Have not yet. I've been to a game in Polk County. Went to the Winter Haven versus Apopka spring game.
Winter Haven.
This bye week coming up, so I'll be at some games. A lot of our coaches will be out and about at some games during our bye week. So FAU will be out and showing our support to our Florida high schools.
Let's get those kids from Florida, Coach. Well, that's what we're asking for. And, thanks for making the team. We're getting the team bigger and better. And, I really love how the team's been playing. They've been playing with a lot of heart, and they've been playing really good this year. And, they've been playing tough. And, still got a lot of football left to play. And thanks for being out there and taking care of it for us.
All right, thanks. Thanks for having me.
FAU assistant coach and defensive line coach Terrence Jameson joining us on the FAU Football Fancast.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
And I just sounded like way too professional, too ESPN to do that right there. So
yeah, for this show, what?
I know it's a little. I know a little too. Well, because and that's like just turns on. It's like Come
on, what? The questions we were at, the softball questions, man. We weren't being tough. We were just trying to be cordial.
No, I'm not gonna get tough on that. No, I'm not doing that.
Our first guest, we want to be cordial, man. He's a nice guy. I
want to keep my seats. What are you talking about?
You think they're gonna cut your seats off?
I keep my seats, man. Oh God.
Oh goodness, man. Yeah, but yeah. I mean, I didn't want to get too much into the loss. Listen, the loss is a loss. What are you gonna do? You just gonna rub it in and stay? Yeah. This is the one thing that really irks me sometimes is that people overanalyze these losses. There's a difference. Okay, at the end of the game, people say, "Oh, why didn't we get in a victory formation? Why didn't we just down the ball and let them get it? And we could have knelt it." Their quarterback was running around all over the place. He wasn't going to be able to drive the ball. Okay, I get all that. Or we could have kicked the field goal. A million things that people say. Being Monday or Sunday morning quarterback, however you want to put it.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is that we just had a little bad luck. If he doesn't fumble that ball, which people say, "Oh, well, I don't understand why they have him running the ball." Listen, man, the coach called it. You run that ball, you get that first down, and you get those few yards. It's a whole different ballgame. Game's over. You don't want to play scared. And I like trying to finish off the game. I like calls like that. So, you're going to get burned by it every once in a while. That's okay. Your team has to learn to win those games. And, could you say that we're going to have some, what do you call it, some learning curve, or we're going to have some, some bumps in the road because Coach Parch is his new coach? Maybe, but I don't think that was a bad call. You could disagree with the call. That's totally fine, but don't question calls.
No, don't hesitate when you're. First of all, as a new coach, don't hesitate on your decisions. Don't second guess it, and trust your players. If you think they're going to be able to do the job.
That's what he did. He trusted him. He said, "Go out there, get those few yards." It's not like it's not like Quez is a pocket quarterback and has never run the ball before. Of course he has. But when you run the ball, there's always a chance you're going to fumble. If he would have handed the ball off, there's a chance that that one of our running backs would have fumbled. So, to second guess those kind of calls is just being ridiculous. There's a difference between having a call like that and then having something like having a turnover happen, or your coach calling for spiking on fourth down. There's a difference between calls like that. So, the unnamed coach that that's called for fourth down spike against Miami last year. Just so everybody remembers. That would be a different kind of call.
Right.
Now, albeit it didn't make a lot of difference because the game was over, but what if that game would have been pretty close and that possession would have counted? They would have been burning that coach to at the stake. He wouldn't have been able to come back to Boca. He would have had to stay the night in Miami. So
right. Well, yeah, no, exactly. So let's go ahead. Well, a few of the things you mentioned while we're looking at the game here, getting away from Wyoming and moving forward to UTSA, you have here on the rundown. The fact of the matter is, Jay Warren, you had a couple of highlights, a couple of positives that you got from the game because you know what? On the road, we're playing more or less how we were kind of with the momentum that we had against Tulsa at home, and playing after a long road game. Being on the road that long, three quarters down the other side of the country, and playing with 7,000 feet above sea level or whatever it is. You're playing that real thin air and all. For what it was worth, they had a lot of adversities. They kept it close. So it wasn't like they fell apart or anything like that. It was just it's one of those games.
We didn't fall apart at all. The defense played great on that last possession. So, it just comes down to sometimes you just don't win the ball game. You just, our offense was sputtering at the beginning of the game. Our defense, let them get, down the field a little bit. So, we made adjustments. We came back in the second half. Sometimes when your offense sputters a little bit at the beginning, you put yourself a little bit behind. But I thought, our offense and defense, except for that last pass, I don't know what happened with our defense. That just was a ball. He just floated it up there, and it was pretty bad. But regardless of the fact, that we can play with a team like that. Wyoming's a quality team.
Mm-hmm.
So, we're going to come out and, I don't foresee UTSA really giving us much more of a challenge than what they did last year. So, I see us having a pretty easy win. I'm hesitant to say things like that because there's always a chance that you can have a hangover and have a loss like this affect you a little bit. You could come out a little sluggish at the beginning of the game and then pour it on. But, when you come out sluggish, you always leave yourself open to other teams catching you when you're sleeping. And so hopefully these guys, like Coach said, they're hungry to get out there, play ball. And we'll see. We're going to find out right away, during the game. You're going to find out right away how focused and how sharp these guys are. If we go downfield and just ram it down them and score a touchdown, they're hungry. And that's a good thing. And even if we come out sluggish, but, we pour it on later on and we turn it around and get the victory, listen, sometimes you just can't get that sluggishness out unless you get back out on the field. So it happens.
Hey, look, but you want to talk about what it comes down to, there's three things right now to keep FAU motivated coming into this week. Number one, shake off that Wyoming loss, shake that road loss off you. Number two, you want to go ahead and keep the wins coming on at home, keep that crowd wanting to come back every week. And number three, you want to make sure you put a win call, one of the win column for the conference, man. You want to make sure that, hey, at least if you were going through and struggling a little bit to start off the year, then let's start the conference season off right. Let's start.
Well, like you said, there's three things that we can play for right now. Three. Winning record, which we haven't seen because last year was not a winning record. 6-6 is a winning record.
No.
Winning record, which we haven't seen in a while, conference championship, and a bowl game. Those three things we haven't seen in a while, and they're big. They're big, and nobody can say that this team can't compete for all three of those. Nobody can say that we can't get a winning record right now. I know we're 1-3, but the schedule becomes more favorable. I mean, we were at 2-2, seconds before it slipped out of our hands.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of winnable games in the conference. We're gonna have some tough conference games, no doubt about it. I mean, we're gonna have some tough games.
But fan, I gave you the 3 short-term, and he just gave you the 3 long-term goals right there.
Oh yeah, man, we gotta look ahead and say, listen, we can still compete for this conference, go to a nice bowl game, get a winning record, and get things moving, man. I mean, we hear a lot about the Fab 15 class that's coming in, and listen, conference championship, a bowl game, and a winning record just keeps the momentum flowing on that. And I mean, this class could have real big time potential. I mean, we're finding out things about our team, every day. Last year we found out, towards the end of the year, Jacques Johnson, hey, we found ourselves a quarterback. This year, Jay Warren's running the ball hard, and Moore's running the ball hard. Hey, we found ourselves some running backs. Last year we found out we got a good receiver, Willie Dukes. We got guys that can play. So, we just got to put things together and make a good run at that conference championship. Whether we get it or not, putting in a good run is going to make a lot of difference. So
we're not because the thing is we have depth. We haven't had to put people out there, true freshmen, and just throw them into the fire. We've got guys that can sit back there and learn and get ready to find their spot on the field when they get a chance. But we've got some good, got some underclassmen that put some time in, did really well, and they're going to be the leaders to take us wherever we're going to be this year.
Hey, listen, these young guys learn from the guys ahead of them. That winning begets winning. So when you're in a winning atmosphere, you don't know what it is to be in a losing atmosphere. If you're a freshman and your first year you're there, man, you go, whatever, you go 8-4. Man, this is what it feels like to win. I like this.
Yep.
And the next year you get better, and the next year you get better. That's what we got to do. It's just building off momentum. And you could say whatever you want that we had bad recruiting classes, we had bad teams before. Yeah, there's plenty of excuses. Excuses don't mean anything now. Now we have a team. Now we have a team that can win, and it's putting the pieces together. And I think Coach Partridge is the guy to do it. Are we going to have some growing pains because Coach Partridge isn't an experienced head coach? Maybe, but is his staff not very experienced? Yeah, okay, but so what? Experience doesn't win you ball games. Winning is what wins. It's the winning attitude. It's the winning amount of work. It's the winning amount of recruiting. It's the winning amount of film study. That's what wins ball games. Experience helps, but it doesn't win you anything.
Sounds like you almost quoted Al Pacino Any Given Sunday or something like that. I wasn't sure. Hey, but let me wrap things up real quick because can I put this in perspective when it comes to FAU? Look at all the other Florida teams. I mean, is anybody except for Florida State really doing anything spectacular? I mean, everybody kind of struggled this year. I mean, we saw if you were watching in a sports bar or you're watching on TV this weekend and you watched Florida State where they're struggling and Florida, and then you see Miami falling apart to Nebraska. I'm like, God, man, let me tell you, we're not in bad shape when you look at it.
What? And I ask anybody that's a fan of those schools or anybody that goes, what would their record be with our schedule up to now?
Oh,
I mean, nobody would be 4-0. Nobody would be. Maybe somebody would be 3-1, but I doubt it. I mean, Florida State might be 3-1, but I don't think they would be 4-0. I mean, I don't know if they could have gone up to Alabama and beaten Alabama. I don't know if they would have had an easy time going to Nebraska and winning that game. So, and Miami and Central Florida, South Florida, the Gators, they might be 2-2. I don't know if if Wyoming wouldn't have beaten any of these teams. You know, Wyoming's a tough squad. They could have beaten Miami. They could have beat Central Florida, South Florida. They might have even given the Gators a good run. So who knows?
Hey,
I mean, to make the trip out to Wyoming and play that game, you know, get one game at home. Tulsa, yeah, well, we blew out Tulsa at home too. But go out and go play those other 3 games. You know, that's a tough schedule, man. You know, so
is there any chance that one of those Florida schools, Division I, could have lost all 4 games?
no, I don't. Tulsa. I mean, and Tulsa, you know, going into the game, I didn't think we were going to blow them out.
No.
We just had a good game. I mean, you know, Quez's deep ball was on, and our defense was playing well. So, you know, it's a thing that you say our schedule is going to get more favorable. Yeah, but we still got to go out there and win ball games. So it's not like the wins aren't just going to come because we show up. We got to play ball. So.
No, and you know what? The one thing you got to do is, you know, against a team like Wyoming, those kind of mistakes could happen on the field anytime. Between now and the end of the year. You gotta be good enough to know not to make those mistakes, and if you do, you gotta overcome.
Anytime, but might as well get those kind of mistakes out of the way now and get into conference play and start playing some ball. So,
I mean, you know, hey, you can almost say let's go 0-0 right now. Let's just go clean slate. You know, 7 games to go. Let's just, or whatever it is, let's just get into it. Let's go ahead.
It's exactly what it is. Out of conference schedule is out of conference. So
correct. Now it counts.
So yeah, you see, man, that kid Eric Winston, man, what is that? Oh, man, get a PR guy on that kid, man. What? Oh, you know, I don't know what's going on with that guy.
No, unprovoked, just decided just to talk. It's like, you know, I'm a First Amendment guy. I'm not going to defend that. I don't even know what it's for. I mean, look, the kid's like a player, man. Look, just somebody handle him. Just control. Just don't say anything.
Listen, I'm all for him doing whatever he wants, and you know, you want to be a free spirit and do your own thing. The more free spirit you are, you're going to cost yourself. You're going to cost yourself draft status.
Smart. Everybody's got a camera. You can't avoid it anymore. You can't just say whatever you want when you are that exposed and that many people are going to be in front of you. That's all.
But this is a young kid. It's hard for young kids to understand that there are consequences to what they do now.
Oh yeah.
And you know, he's going to say, people are going to draft me anyways. They'll forget about it. You know, they might forget about one, maybe forget about another. But man, you start packing things on. You know, when you have a plate this big and you start filling it with things like you're at Joe's Crab Shack and you're filling them up with crab legs, I mean, and it's overflowing off the plate. You know, it's hard for people to say to just shake it off. You can't shake it off anymore.
Just go to the checkout counter. It's not that hard. Just go to the checkout counter.
No, listen. Just suck it up for a couple more years. You're going to get drafted in the NFL, then you can do whatever you want. As long as, you know, the NFL is tolerant, as long as you don't knock anybody out in the elevator or, you know, or whatever they do, you know.
The switch and, yeah.
Just, man, you know, you can do the depths of some of these guys in the NFL, you know, that what they have come back from is amazing. I mean, what Michael Vick came back from is amazing. But Michael Vick has done a good job of keeping quiet and just doing his thing on the field. He has learned. And people do forget. I mean, some people remember, but a lot of people forgot. Oh, Mike Vick's on the team. Oh, yeah. But they don't think Mike Vick, you know, the guy with the dogs, they don't think that first anymore. They think, oh, Michael Vick, the guy that gets hurt on the field, the guy that runs around. You know, they think of other things. They think of football things. And right now, people aren't thinking of football things when it comes to Winston. They're thinking of other things. And he's a good player. He's a talented player. But you can hurt yourself in the draft doing stuff like this, man. And he's still got a ways to go till he gets to that point, till he gets into the draft. So.
And by the way, can we even just mention the media? Can you guys get off of football into something else, please? I'm tired of hearing you talking about every football player that does something wrong. Move on, for the love of God.
Hey, man, but the media sells what the media sells, and drama sells.
Just something else. I'm so tired of it. So tired of it. ESPN's having a field day. And you know what? It's like, can we just sum up the games? Let's not worry about like what this guy did wrong. It's like, enough. And you know what? And also, let's not provoke the matter either. Players, how about you guys stay in line and play discipline, huh? Quit. Watch yourselves.
Yeah, well, hey, listen, you can't tell grown men that make a lot of money what to do unless you're the one giving them the money. So it's the team's responsibility, man, to not to tell them what to do, but to to open their eyes to the point that, listen, it's going to be consequences, and it's out of our hands a lot of times. And and even with Ray Rice, the NFL tried to yeah, we didn't see the tape, and now they're saying that they got the tape. This guy is a security cop or a regular cop, and now they're saying that the Ravens went and saw the tape. Listen, it's not. I don't think it's above the NFL to try to protect their own guys. They have their own shield. But hey, listen, yeah, you're gonna eventually pay for what you do anyway. So,
any of the FAU players take that warning, okay, please.
yeah,
I don't want you. And Alfred Morris, like for God's sake, don't be one of these guys. Please don't.
Oh no, Alfred Morris. Are you kidding me? He's so far away from doing something like that. So, I mean, if he just had I'm thinking that Alfred Morris is going to start having a little bit better a year with, with Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins is a pocket passer, so they need somebody to pick up the run, and they're just going to give it to Alfred a little bit more. He had a lot of carries this week, and he didn't have any touchdowns. He had some yards, but Alfred Morris is going to get probably a little bit of an expansion on his role over there.
He started on my fantasy league, at least I can say that. And
of course, I got him on my fantasy league too. But I'm not going to draft Alfred Morris, please.
It's almost a sin if you don't, right? Anyway, let's go ahead and wrap this up tonight. Thank you, everybody. And first of all, with special thanks to Terrence Jameson, the assistant coach, defensive line coach for FAU, coaching staff joining us here on the show.
One thing. Oh my goodness, did you see what East Carolina did to North Carolina?
Oh,
man, 70 burger. Man, North Carolina was ranked in some polls.
Yeah,
25th, 70 burger. Man, Shane Carden, bro. Well, we got to see him firsthand.
We got to see him last year. He took us to town, and you know what? That guy is. He is destined for greatness. He's good,
man. Ate them up. He must be in medical school, Shane Carden.
Don't worry about the All-American Conference. How far can they go up the ranks pretty soon? That's where they're going to be next.
Hey, man, like I told our brother Alex, I said, man, he must be in medical school. He dissected them, boy. Whoa.
So, again, thanks to Coach Jameson for being on. Thanks for all of you for tuning in. And, I know not all of you, make it out of your way with the new TV fall season and football going on, whatever there is, to sit in here and watch us live, but we're glad you catch us on the back end watching the show after the fact. And, if you pass the word around, we really appreciate that too. Now, if you want to follow Coach Jameson, you can also do it just going on Twitter at Coach Jameson, Jamison. My Twitter's at King of Podcast, pretty simple. Andy's is at FAU Wise Guys. You can find the show on YouTube at the FAU Wise Guys channel. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you at the Hey, show up at the stadium, guys. And students, red pants or no red pants, show up like you did. You guys rocked. And for the alumni, hey, go get some drinks up at the Hyundai party deck, whatever. They got beer rolling around all over the place. You got, you have no reason. It's a 5 o'clock game too. It's gonna be, not that
reason. You can still go out. You can still go out afterwards. 5 o'clock gets you home at a reasonable time. Still go out.
Show up. We're gonna be there. We'll be there early, and we hope to see you guys all out there. We hope to get to see a home win again.
You'll see the guy in the stands. Cold beer.
Thanks, guys. Have a good week. Go Owls.